What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. So, look at this list of players. How soon we forget that these guys were drafted last year and they just didn't get on the field for whatever reason, or they didn't play a lot. But this draft class was considered to be a very successful one. Maybe because you had Sandra Still and Jaden Daniels. But I think it's possible if these players work hard during the offseason. I think they could come back and be key contributors to the team. Now, can they be difference makers? It's highly suspect. But in any event, they could at least be key contributors. So let's take a look at some of these guys. And I want you to tell me in the comments which of these guys you think might have a chance to be big time contributors to the team this year. So first up is Luke McCaffrey. Now, Luke McCaffrey is a good size. He's 6'2", about 210. I think he's going to get bigger. I don't like him coming out of the slot because the NFL is trending towards bigger slot receivers because your slot cornerbacks are smaller usually, and they're not as skilled as the outside corners. And so you put a bigger receiver there, then you have yet another advantage. And if you look at the Bengals game, you would notice that Luke McCaffrey had a good game. And if he could be consistent as he was in that game, I think he could be a 60 catch guy for sure. And he could certainly have multiple touchdowns. I think he could take the role of Noah Brown. But Noah Brown, of course, wasn't used much in the slot. So, or we'll see how that works. But I think that there will be an overhaul in the receiver room. I don't think outside of McCaffrey, Debo, and McLaurin, I don't think anybody's job is safe. So we'll see how that goes. There are some draftable receivers who that they can find in the 4th, 5th, even 6th round that are more talented than most of the receivers they have. So there's that. But if he works hard over the summer, there's a role for Luke McCaffrey if they should go that route. Next up is Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott, watching some of his tape from earlier in the year, I think that there were some times where he was open and he had a chance to have 20, 30 catches and sort of have a more solid role on the team. But for whatever reason, Jaden didn't get the ball to him. And I'm not sure if it's a progression read thing where he was the last guy in his read. And frequently, we know that Jaden likes to get the ball out fast. But there were several sort of little moments where I saw Ben Sinnott sort of running free. But, McLaurin was important and some of the other receivers were more important. But I think that Ben Sinnott could certainly be sort of like an heir apparent to Zach Ertz. But he has to work hard because he's still a little raw in some areas. And so we'll see how that goes. I know in college I was really impressed with him and I was excited at his potential. And so hopefully he can take that next leap. Okay, next up is Tyler Owens. Tyler Owens, undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech. Good size at 6'2" and a half and probably a 4'4" 40, 210, 215 pounds. The thing I like about him, and we already know that he's aggressive. He doesn't mind sticking his nose in there and making a tackle. But I think he could be a pretty good coverage guy, and he could certainly play in the box. And so if Tyler Owens if it can all sort of click for him a little bit, I think he could get a little bit more time on the field outside of special teams. Now, he's a guy that I think could be a difference maker. But it all has to come together for him. And with all these guys, you don't want to keep waiting. You don't want to go another year without them proving their worth to the team. But Tyler Owens certainly has the talent and the freakish athleticism to be a difference maker. Next up is Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and he's very intriguing to me because the Commanders are looking at a lot of guys that are in that 6'5", 270 range. I guess to be more of a defensive end / edge setter. And then they're looking separately at a little bit smaller guys to be edge rushers. So it seems that they like edge rushers next to ends, but as it relates to Javonte Jean-Baptiste, he's 6'5", 265. And so he has that size that is intriguing and that the Commanders really seem to like it a little bit. Now, he needs to have it all come together. He has been injured and out several games. He just needs to string some games together and start making a difference. He did show flashes, but he does have size, appealing size at that. But he just needs to let it all come together and take that leap. And possibly he can be like a Montez Sweat type with good speed and athleticism and good size. So we'll see if Javonte Jean-Baptiste can take that leap. Next up is two guys who are edge rusher types. And I think if they get a little more time, it's possible that they can sort of take that next step as well. Andre Jones Jr. and Junior Fehoko, I'll put them in the same sort of category because they're both around 6'4", 265. They both have a little bit of quickness and speed off the edge. They just need opportunity. And I looked at some of Junior Fehoko's college tape, and I was impressed with him. If you remember, he came late in the year from Gallus's practice squad where they released him, and Dan Quinn quickly sort of snatched him up. So let's see how preseason looks for those two guys, because you know they're going to be drafting an edge rusher, and we will see how things play out for them. But I'm intrigued by Fehoko and Andre Jones Jr. Next up is Michael Wiley, running back out of Arizona, and I'll be quick on him, but he has good vision. He has a subtle creativity about his elusiveness, and he performed well last preseason, and we'll see how he does this year. He's not a home run threat, but he has that subtle creative elusiveness like Emmitt Smith. I'm not saying that he's a Hall of Famer like that, but he has that kind of vision and elusiveness and subtlety about it that make me sort of impressed by him on some level. We'll see if he can't find a team, if it's not Washington, and get his opportunity. Finally, there's Dominique Hampton. I did not include Jordan McGee on this list because he was injured so much, and it's possible he may be injured a lot again. He was injured a few times in college. So I'm just not even going to put him on this list. I would like to be pleasantly surprised by him. So we shall see. But Dominique Hampton has good size. He's a bit of a tweener now. He's like 6'2", 230. So he's a tweener between linebacker and safety. And we'll see if he can't get bigger and make a difference. I don't recall seeing him much. I saw him on the field, but I don't recall seeing him do very much. But he's a guy that's got great athleticism. So we'll see how he sort of shakes out next year. So all these guys have to work diligently this summer, this offseason, come back stronger, faster, bigger, and see if they can't play a key role with a team this year. So that's what I got. What do you guys think? Do you think any of these guys could be difference makers, or at the very least, very key contributors? Let me know. Let's discuss in the comments.